questions? A motion to adopt this agenda for January 27th, 2025, as submitted with the Board of Education, reserving the right to add to the agenda, take further action on the items raised in executive session where immediate action on such items is considered to be in the best interest of the district.
So moved. Second.
Okay, and just one comment, we will be discussing Notre Dame's request to have students from Notre a discussion point that will be coming up tonight. Okay, approval of minutes. Motion to approve the minutes of the December 3rd, 2024 board meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And I don't think we approved the agenda. I'm sorry. Although we did the first and second and I spoke and we never approved it. So going back, this is to the approve the agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Superintendent's report.
Go to December 16th. So there's another 7.
There's another 7.
Allow?
We have a second set of minutes.
Yes.
Approved.
Oh, I'm sorry. We had two meetings. That's right. And a motion to approve the minutes of December 16th, the 2024 board meeting.
So
So
moved.
moved.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I forgot we had our regrouping meeting. Okay, now our superintendent report.
All right, let me see if I can figure out the Zoom and how to share. Manville, are you ready? Do I have it?
Bless you.
Say that again, Manville?
I can see your mouse on the bottom moving across the thing. As you're clicking.
Why isn't it sharing? Sorry, everybody. Can we allow the students to go while I figure this, or do you have a presentation too? All right, so you're just letting me, hanging me out to dry.
Oh, we could do,
I figured
we
this
could
out.
do the committee report.
Let's do committee reports,
All right.
Manville and I figured
We are
this
going to
out.
do committee reports. Monroe Career and Technical Society. Keith.
So I'm giving Nene's report.
If you
too.
would, please.
I'm throwing it into, I would just like to, I'm going to read what she wrote for us. Also, and I'll touch on it. Good evening, East Stroudsburg board members and guests. My name is Nene, Nayela Joseph, and I am a senior at East Stroudsburg South and a fourth year student and business and hospitality management program at MCTI. I'll be giving today's board report and representing MCTI. They had winners of Future Farmers of America, East Stroudsburg North. We had Wendy S. Took second place in the Bud Vase arrangement. Violetta D took third place in the hanging basket competition. Hunter H took fourth place in the topiary design fresh flowers. And Kirsten B took second place in terrarium tropical foliage, which is really neat. On Monday, December 16th, MCI DECA students competed in the following students place. That was at Skills USA at the fairgrounds in downtown. And I'm honored to say I attended. It was amazing. My second year of going there. It's really interesting to see our kids compete. Trent C and Zakai J took team number one entrepreneur team decision making for South. They took fourth place. Nassar F quick service restaurant management from South took fourth place. Braden J sports and entertainment marketing series from South took third place. Nene took prepared speech, South first place. So she's going on to states. Matthew M retail merchandising from North took first place. And Janaea T took marketing management team decision-making from North took first place. And then there's one other one that she doesn't have on here, but I know it's here. James Fall, who was part of a team, he and two other students from Pleasant Valley were on a team that is a really neat thing. They give them a plan and they make them design a whole building. They build the walls and put the pipes in and like right there. They never saw it before. It's really cool to watch them. I'll show you some pictures if you want to see them. They took first place again when James was part of last year's team that took first place on the states too. So pretty proud of them. He's a South senior. I just want and MCI had no meeting. We had no meeting in January, of course. The construction I talked to Dennis is moving along fine. There's some questions of issues of some design flaws, who's responsible, but they're working through them. And I'm excited to be back on the board at MCTI and represent as well. And I think that's a good. Is that anything else you want to touch on, Jason?
No, that's it.
Right, George? Oh no, George, Rick and Wayne's not here.
He's not here.
Oh, yeah. So I'm excited to be on. And it's like I said, Skills USA was. Wait, hold on. Oh, wait a minute, hold on. That was. Oh, wait, hold on. Question. That what I said before was DECA. That wasn't MC. That was DECA.
Yeah.
That was all placing at DECA. The MCTI Skills USA, our South Basic Care MARTA C took third place in basic healthcare. We had East Stroudsburg North, Autumn G took third place in cake decorating, and she was with Precision Machine. Garrett A from South took third place in precision machining. Commercial baking, Stephanie N took third place. She's from East Stroudsburg North. And then restaurant service, Alexandra G North took third place. Technical drafting, Nathaniel R took third place. He's from North. And then from South, building construction, carpentry, Timothy C took second place. Amber B from North took second place in cake decorating. Internet working, Jared B took second place from North. Medical math, Aspen N took second place from North. Internet working, network and security, Jared B took second place from North. Related technical math, Liam Ben, North second place. Criminal justice. Now that Isaiah, I got Isaiah. You know Isaiah. You're from North. Isaiah S. I met him and I thought he was pretty impressed. I said, "How do you think you did?" And he said, "I won. I won." I said, "Are you sure?" I said, "I won." And guess what? He did. He got first place. And I had to go personally congratulate him because I told him I was going to and head up there one day. Health Bowl knowledge. We have Brittany U, Elianis M, David M, and Veronica D, all from North, took first place. Medical technology, Aaliyah B took, oh, I hope this isn't part of your report, is it? Okay. I just thought of that. Took first place. Prepared speech, Nene Joseph took first place. Teamworks Masonry, James Fall was first place. He was part of a team. You don't understand. I'm just going to say this. One of the things I love being on this board is going to see our students and watching them, how they represent us. It's just amazing. It's just so awesome. And so I'm honored to give this report on her behalf because I was going to talk about it anyway and brag, but now I got to do both. But yes, go East Stroudsburg.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, all the other schools from Monroe County represent us well too. It wasn't, but we had the most.
Sounds that way.
We like
We
to hear
did
that.
have more than
Hint,
the
hint,
other
hint.
county schools.
And they made it on a snow day. Get this. They figured out how to, I want to give Dennis Verga, director of the MCTI, and his staff and our staff a kudos because I know you were on the phone quite a bit. I talked to him. That was our 2-hour delay. And we got all our kids down there in time to participate in this. It was a delayed for them, but it's still, I applaud our transportation and our parents and our administration and MCTI administration for doing such a fine job to make sure we got our kids there.
We knew it was a priority.
It
We
was,
said that.
and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank
Thank you. And Jay, I would second, like MCTI offers amazing programs. I remember as principal just to watch the kids and what they do, and what's provided for them. And the futures they have, the careers they come out with is really just amazing. So it's great to hear them not only doing that, but competing and doing well. I'm going to go to the IU report, which is my own, another amazing place for us and now really working a lot with our students with disabilities. The IU meeting highlights each month, they highlight a particular success story of some of their students. And this one was a work-based program that they have for students with disabilities. There was a video shown for students working at American Hairlines, which is a pretty clever place for hairstyles, American Hairlines. And two students do work there, and they highlighted the work they do. Two students with fairly significant disabilities who do not let those disabilities get in the way of their success. So it was really amazing to see that. Some of the other things that came out, the IU did not recommend, but congratulate all of the board members across the IU and also the IU board members that were present. Also, good news, the general operating budget will not include any increases for the schools here, and that's an excellent thing. So the programs we have that are great are going to continue with no increase for the next budget year. There's a major internet provider upgrade that's being done down at the IU, and at a lower cost. So they did highlight that, and that's something that'll be excellent for the program down there. The last thing that was highlighted is that it is time once again to accept nominations for the Excellence in Education Awards program. That's a program they have each year where the IU recognizes excellent education programs. So schools do submissions, and then they are recognized at a very big event at the end of the school year. The winners, I can say that East Berwick has had many winners. Amy Polmounter, our assistant principal from South, is out there and has had many entries and winners from the for excellence in education. So we certainly encourage anyone who is listening tonight, and also our superintendent, to encourage our schools to apply this year for the excellence in education and get our name recognized out there again. Oh yes, and Mrs. Catrillo also had won an event, and we had a school win, but I was principal at school win. So we do have a history, Eastburg, of being very competitive. So we ask that people who for this year also enter some of our programs that are out there. And that's my report for IU 20 and property and facilities. We are going to skip tonight because Wayne isn't with us tonight. And education programs committee.
Thank you. The EPR committee met on Thursday, January 9th at 5:30. Mrs. Laurie presented the Be Alliance update, highlighting the various holidays and celebrations for the months of January and February. She also presented a short video showcasing Ruby Bridges Day with our Bushkill and Lehman students, which was really a great presentation. And as we've been saying here, just to see all of our students so engaged is really wonderful. Dr. Preparato also presented the State of the Intermediate Schools report. Remember, last month we did the high school, and then next month we'll do the elementary. This report was extremely comprehensive. It covered the Keystone data, building data, ASACA, AP, SAT testing, and it looked at the years prior to COVID through our current school year. The majority of our meeting was spent on the Future Educator Program and Dual Credit Enrollment Program, which was presented by Amy Polmounter and Carrie Lynn Karamis. Some of the highlights of the discussion were the differences between dual enrollment and credit, the success of the Future Educators Program with and without the coursework, the financial ramifications of offering college courses versus the educational gains for our students, the roles that Northampton Community College and ESU play in these programs, and finally, kind of looking to the future to reduce the cost and bring more universities into the program. It really was quite a comprehensive discussion that evening for all the board members, superintendent, assistant directors, et cetera. At the very kind of conclusion of that, the EPR committee did recommend bringing these two programs to the board for approval. So you'll see that in tonight's agenda. The total cost is approximately $55,000 plus textbooks. In addition to these two recommendations, the EPR committee also moved forward to the board this evening the approval of the CP statistics curriculum and Gizmos, which is the ancillary interactive science program, lab program. That is funded through the curriculum and instruction budget, though, for this year in the amount of $39,413.80. Lastly, our shout outs. Dr. Bradley gave a shout out to our 3rd through 5th grade teachers for their high energy and level of professionalism during their STEELS training. Dr. Cabrera also gave shout outs to our administrators, teachers, and food service and transportation departments for helping with our high school winter Keystone scheduling. For many of you know, this was a different way that we presented it this year. The feedback has been positive following this change of scheduling, especially the fact that we were still able to get our MCTI students to attend their classes without interruption. And lastly, kind of speaking of shout outs, I would like to extend a shout out and thanks and congratulations to Dr. Piparato, whose retirement you may have noticed is on tonight's board agenda. I would like to thank her for her professionalism and welcoming attitude as we worked together over this past year. And of course, many years for myself working with her when I was English department chair. I look forward to continuing our work with her over the next few months, but wanted to wish her this evening publicly all the best as she moves forward, looks forward to her next adventure in life. And the retirement is fun, I must say. Our next meeting is Thursday, February 6th at 5:30, both here and in Zoom. And of course, we welcome everyone to attend. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Finance, Rebecca?
So finance met on January 13th, and we received a quote, which is moving forward for the ABT for Lehman and JT Lambert TV studio upgrades. We heard from our auditors where they did our audit review. We had first presentation of that. You'll see on the agenda a donation from Uline for boxes they donated to us. Also a Roland digital piano that was donated to ESE. There's the Act 1 resolution, Ready to Learn tax equity resolution, and the tax collectors resolution. And then I didn't hear Wayne, so I'll read over properties and facilities, what they recommended to move forward. We have the JTL replacement of the auditorium seating, JM Hill gym floor refinish, North auditorium lighting upgrades. There are CHA invoices 1 through 6. Change order of North Campus Phase 2 storm pipe from Rutledge. And then we also reviewed the current project list. And then as Ms. Catrillo said, moving forward, the approval of the Gizmo Science, as well as the dual credit program for next year. And our next meeting is February 10th, both here at 5:30 and via Zoom.
Rebecca, what was the stage lighting? What were we doing with stage lighting somewhere? Not stage lighting, TV studio.
Oh, we are doing, we're reviewing the quote from AVT for Lehman and JT Lambert Intermediate, and we're using the same company that you had recommended
Correct.
that we use for,
Because I don't recall that coming before property and facilities. I didn't know if did that go right to you then?
No, we spoke about the
Did we?
property and facilities.
I know we talked about lights.
No, Mr. Borosh was here and talked about it.
Okay, I must have been, I was so altered in getting through that meeting. I think maybe, because I was filling in for Wayne, so I was doing a dual role that night.
Yep.
Okay, I'm all for it, but I just don't remember, I might have had a senior moment that night, sorry.
That's okay.
Okay, good. All right, we're on to policy. Keith?
You'll have to forgive me, I'm not privy to the chance to write an elaborate report like everyone else, since I'm off the cuff about an hour and a half ago. Well, 2 hours, I guess. Policy committee met tonight. We discussed policy 609, investment of district funds, policy 617, repealing the petty cash policy, policy 623, capitalization policy, we're repealing that. We discussed policy 702, gifts and scholarships and donations. Policy, we talked about 707 and we're going to address that at a future school board meeting as per our request. I talked to Mr. Control about that. And that's about all that we're putting on the agenda to be reviewed this month. And we'll be talking about it, approving it next month's meeting. Our next meeting will be the same, when is this meeting? Right before this meeting at 4:30. And I encourage all those in the public to attend. It is a very 24th, February 24th. It's an exciting meeting worth attending, either virtually or in person.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Reserve your tickets now.
Reserve, the seats are going fast.
Okay, I heard. Okay, and now my favorite part of the night, our student reports, North High School, Alyssa.
And look at how nicely her presentation goes up right away. Well done.
Thank you. So good evening, school board, faculty, and guests. To introduce myself, my name is Alyssa Dina. I'm a senior at East Stroudsburg North, and I'm honored to be your student representative this year. So we're just gonna jump right into some academics. On Friday, January 3rd, Sergeant Kubota, Sergeant Buck, and Sergeant Hernandez from the Pennsylvania Army National Guard led our physical education class, and I had the honor to be their first period. We had lots of fun. There was obstacle courses. They made us do relay races, and they made us create human tunnel, which we army crawled under. And at the end, we had a game of tug of war, which was really fun. And also with academics, our journalism class published their second edition of the Timberwolf Times for the 2024-2025 school year. And honestly, I just want to applaud them because they treat it like an actual professional like newspaper. Like they do like interviews, they write it themselves, they they peer edit with each other. It's just so nice. And I love to read it every single time it comes out. And so we're going to move on to the arts. I'm excited to announce that North Senior Amari Abrams had his photograph Ledge selected for the 2024 Drexel University High School Photography Contest exhibition. His work will be on display in the Philadelphia Gallery. And on top of this, his photography teacher, Mrs. Sewen, 2001 admission to Inner Thoughts is displayed aside with Amari Abrams' piece. And it's just so rewarding because she submitted this over 2 decades ago when she was in high school, and now she's able to do this with her students. So it's just amazing to see. And I'm thrilled to announce that 5 North High School students from the band, Tyler Boyce, Joseph Canetti, Tayo Melissa, Dylan Perry, and Nina Yanuzzi, represented our school at the PMEA District 10 Band Festival from January 23rd to the 25th. These talented musicians, they auditioned in December, and they got to go up with people across Northeast Pennsylvania. And I do believe that some of them went to regionals. I'll have the people who went there next month. So yeah, but it's just really exciting to see. And the North High School is proud to present the Monroe and Pike County Choir Festival on January 31st, sorry. This special event brings together all talented students from 8 high schools, and Miss Allison Lagan will be directing, and we'll have rehearsal all day, and then we'll perform in the evening at 7 p.m. in the auditorium. And on January 16th, members in the North High School band performed at our winter sports pep rally, which we'll talk a little bit more about later, but they played when the students came in and also had their own performance during the pep rally. And on to athletics. On January 22nd, our newest winter sports team, the Unified Bocce team, celebrated their first senior night, and this was against Saucon Valley, I believe it's pronounced. And yeah, it's just, I love new sports. They do such an amazing job. So yeah, I'm just really excited for them. And to close off with academics, through our SWPBIS program, we found that 76% of our student population qualified for the first quarter award. And this was based on positive data from attendance, discipline, and grades. And what they did for the award is they went around the school with a little food cart, and they gave food and drinks to the people who qualified for the reward, which is again 76% of the school, which is amazing. I'm so proud. And to close, on January 16th, we did held our winter pep rally. This was hosted by our morning announcements team, which we call it North Drive Never Live, which is it's really fun. I love it. But this rally celebrated our winter sports teams as well as our senior winter athletes and their mentors. Highlights included cheerleaders. We had a performance from the band, as mentioned earlier, and at the end we had a lip sync battle between some of the students, and the crowd got to choose their favorite, and they just got, bragging rights, but it was really fun. So I believe that the students all enjoyed it. All the students were able to attend the event, and it was just such a nice way to, bring all the students together and to celebrate the sports. And with that, I will close my report. Thank you all for your attention, and I hope you enjoy the amazing things happening at North this month. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And thank you as always, Liz, for your energy and enthusiasm. We appreciate it. Do we have anything? I know Carl's not here. Do we have?
So he was going to try to log on, but we also told him that his health was more important.
He's
I'm
on.
here. Wait, I'm here. Can you hear me?
There's really good cookies here, Carl. Shame you're not having them.
Oh man, it's okay. Don't tease me, Mr. Carpet. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, go ahead, Carl.
Okay. Okay. Just making sure. Sorry. I just wanted to start with our Olson Christmas Wish fundraiser in December before our break. We raised money for the Olson Christmas Wish, which is a local organization that gives to underprivileged families in Monroe County. And we raised more than $1,600 for the organization. I want to thank Mr. Carcutt for helping us with the technology. We have our red carpet and our movie screen to honor our winter sports, and also Dr. Vitale for taking our check back from the Grinch. That was pretty good, an important step in the process. And to get more serious, our High School South future educators went to JTL, which was hosted by their principal, Mr. Lenhart. And this was a great opportunity for them to observe classrooms and get more mentorship experiences. Additionally, Mrs. Bibler's English 11 class knit hats for their Act 158 service learning project and donated them to Salvation Army and got a walking tour of the facility. Additionally, our 12 plus class took a trip to the Hughes Public Library and learned all that the library has to offer and got to check out DVDs and books and got library cards for themselves. Our gifted alumni luncheon was the first of its kind this year. Mr. Kernan invited former students from the gifted program to talk to current students about what college is like and other pieces of advice they had over lunch. So that was very enjoyable. And then we had another service learning project. Our Student Speak on Gun Violence project was done by English 12 college success students to demonstrate their project, and they invited community members, service teachers, administrators, and about 30 students were involved in this effort. And then some academic programs this month. We had our pinata contest, excuse me, in Mrs. Lenkaitis' Spanish class. Their names listed up there on the slideshow of the top 3 pinata winners. So that was very exciting. And to move to our family consumer science class, Mrs. Brotherton's annual gingerbread display was exciting. Students come up with their designs, build them, and host the school to vote on them and can win a golden spoon. And I just want to acknowledge our South students who competed in Skills USA very briefly. I never want to take Nayla's thunder, but there are about 20 students from South who competed. So we were very proud of them representing us. We also had our Special Olympics floor hockey competition at Pocono Mountain East, and we had 3 teams competing and even joined with North for another team, and they did great, so we're very proud of all of them. We also had a great month in athletics. Our Cavalier cheer team won the District 11 championship this year, and they're moving on to the state championships this week. Additionally, this just happened recently. They went to Texas this past week and placed 5th at NCAA Nationals. So that was very exciting. Charles Capers was named to the WNEP 16 Dream Team, and Charles Capers and Xavier Pusateri were both named to the football coaches all-state team. And I believe that's voted on by football coaches, so that's a very high honor for them, and we're very proud. On January 7th, our high school band had their winter concert. This was a very special thing they did. They performed a song called Our Castaways about pets that don't get adopted, and they went around in the audience and raised over $500 for Awesome Animal Shelter. Additionally, our choraleers performed at POCO 103 radio station before break. That was very exciting. We got to meet the radio host. And our winter choir concert was on December 17th and featured performances from the jazz band, choraleers, and concert choir. And that is all I have for the past month. It's a very exciting month at South, and thank you all.
Thanks, Carl. Feel better?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and we already had our MCTI report, so we are on our superintendent's report.
Look at that, it's up there. Look at that, and I'm doing none of it. Oh.
I'm ready when you are. So when I started, I decided that I wanted to collect kind of some perceptual data on where we were as a district. So I sent out a superintendent entrance survey to our students, to our faculty and staff, administrators, and then also our parents. So I'm going to report on that tonight and give you kind of some background of what people are saying about our district and how people feel about the services that we provide. Before I do that, so we have just had 2 wonderful presentations from our students about all the programs at the secondary level. That wouldn't happen without the 9 elected officials. So we just need to recognize that this is School Board Appreciation Month, and we appreciate you. We recognize that you volunteer your time. Not sure sometimes why, because it's a lot of time. It's countless hours every month of reading and learning and researching and listening and attending meetings. And you do this so that our students can have the best possible education and experience possible. So please know that we are incredibly grateful. I just wanted to throw that out there to make sure you know we appreciate your work. Okay, so the survey went out to faculty, staff, administration, students, and families. And basically the questions were, what's the greatest strength of the district? What's the greatest strength of you as an employee? What's the greatest challenge facing the district? What's the greatest challenge for you as an employee? And then what do you need from me as your superintendent? I have to tell you that the response rate was much higher than I expected, which was super exciting. But it's taken so long because they were all open responses, which means that people got to write their response. So when you see the number of responses, I read every single one of them and had to kind of disaggregate that data and pull it out into themes. Okay, let's start with our students, because honestly, that's kind of why we're here. So this is this chart, and you have it in front of you because I know sometimes these charts are a little small. It's just showing you that 485 of our students responded. It was sent out to all of our students. That was a response rate. Small considering our population, but still kind of a robust number for us to get an idea of where they were. So those are the numbers of responses. And then the next slide is really what is our greatest strength. So as a district, we looked at kind of what is the strength of the district. I spent with Mr. Forsyth countless hours, I would say, kind of reading everyone and trying to disaggregate of where the strengths were and what was important to our people. So that just kind of shows where everybody felt. They definitely overwhelmingly feel that the strength of the district is morale, climate, culture, and then also the extracurricular and the sports that we offer our district. So great feedback from our students that really we're creating a positive environment for them, and that we're creating good programming for them with extracurriculars and sports. The next one is the greatest challenge, which is something that we really have to focus on, right? So this is what our students are telling us are concerning them. And the top 2 was bullying and then academics and programs. And again, we're going to talk about this at the end of the presentation, but these are just like initial responses of what students are saying. It doesn't give us a lot of information other than, we need to look at this and better understand it. But that's the challenge from our students. So now when we look at faculty and staff, we look at our response rate, and it's kind of 2 charts. It breaks it up by school and central office, and we had 772 people respond. And then the right side kind of shows you by percentage that about 4% of the responses are administrators, about 60% are professional staff, and about 37% of these responses come from our support staff. So when we look at our greatest strength of the district, they are saying that it's the diverse and connected community, which kind of aligns to what students are saying as well as the culture of our school district. And then the second top is the people, that faculty, staff, and administration are the greatest strengths of our school district. When we talk about the greatest challenge, they look at, there's a bunch that are kind of competing. So behavior, disrespect, or behavior, respect, discipline, communication, equity, cohesion, accountability. Those 3 are all kind of neck and neck for the biggest challenges that our district faces. Any questions yet? Okay. Parents, guardians, responses. We had 555 parents respond, which is wonderful. It gave us kind of a vast response in understanding where our parents sit. When they talk about their greatest strength of what they feel is the district, they feel it's the people. So it's the faculty, staff, and administration, and then the diverse school community. I hope you're seeing some trends, which is super exciting, that our three stakeholders are really in alignment with what they feel our strengths are. When we look at the greatest challenges or area of improvement facing our district, this was student behaviors and academics and programs were the top two that were most concerned. And again, you're looking at like about 19% of the responses said that, but they're the top two, which means just you have to dig deeper and understand exactly what that perceptual data tells us. So now let's compare what this kind of means to us. So when we look at the district's greatest strengths, I kind of put it up in front of us so we can see it. So the students are saying the greatest strength is morale, culture, climate, extracurriculars, and academic programs. Faculty and staff is saying it's the community, employees, and then programs. So to me, I see academics programs twice and the connected community. That goes along to me with morale, culture, and climate. And then our parents are saying that the greatest strengths are employees, the diverse community, and academics and programs. So to me, I feel like there's a really strong alignment that our people are really, really happy with our community that we've created, the culture that we've created, the programs that we're offering, and the people who are enacting those programs. As I've spent a significant amount of time meeting with people, having one-on-one meetings, and also being in buildings, I completely agree. The environment that we create, the culture in our schools is positive, it's upbeat. People are happy to be in our schools. Our students are happy to be in school, as happy as students can be to be in school. Our faculty and staff are prideful of the work they do. They're prideful of the students that they support and the work that they're doing. So I would say if you were to ask me 2 months ago what data we would come out, I probably would have been able to anticipate this, which is exciting because it means we're doing good and we're moving in the right direction. Now so when I looked at all of the responses, right? So we had over about 2,000 responses. There were a lot of words put in there. So I figured the best way to kind of tell you, as I took the information and I coded it out of what morale, climate, and culture means, these are just some of the words that students were saying. So they talked about staff, respect, helpful, positivity, devoted, accommodating, ambition. Like these are the words that all fell under that category. So this kind of gives you a peek into how I put that data and how I themed it out. The next slide is what a diverse, connected community looks like and what it meant to our students. And you see determination, inclusion, commitment, togetherness, partnership, teamwork. This is what our students are saying and our community is saying about what we're doing in our schools. And then when families say employees, this is what it means. They're talking about our teachers, our staff, amazing, welcoming, friendly, the culture, knowledgeable, dedicated, committed. Like these are all super positive words about what they're saying about the people that we employ to serve our students. Now, the greatest challenges. Students, faculty, and parents, I would say all identify student behaviors. So students were at 42% with bullying, which to me is student behaviors. It falls under that category. 16% of the responses from faculty was behaviors and 19% of the parent and guardian responses were behaviors. Academic programs is up there for our students and our parents and our guardians as well. And then what's interesting is community is up there for our students. And then equity, cohesion, and accountability is up there for our faculty and staff. And transportation is up there for our parents. So we had really strong alignment in our greatest strengths. There's some divergence in our greatest challenges, but still we can say, we need to look at what student behaviors look like and what our programs look like to make sure that we're really supporting our students. So then just to define that out, when they say bullying, this is what it means. Security, ignorance, arguments, conflict, racism, supervision, fighting, cliques. I don't know if this would be any different than any other school in the country, but it's still something that they're concerned about. So we need to identify that and make sure that we're working to create the best environment for our students. When employees say behaviors, it means student motivation, enforcement, accountability, consequences, aggression, apathy, discipline is the big word right there. So our employees are feeling that we are not being responsive to students' behaviors, is what I got out of that. And then when families say academic programs, it means progressiveness, that we're coddling, homework intervention, geography, math, awareness, mental health programs, counseling, technology. These are all things that they're concerned about, that perhaps we're not offering or not offering with fidelity. So now what? So I was driving into work one day and I was trying to think of like a really good analogy, because when we look at data at any time, it can be really defeating because our people put their all and they give their all every day. And sometimes, like transportation department, transportation works countless hours, but they were one of the greatest challenges. So I came up with an analogy, and just entertain me. If it falls flat, let me know. But I'm kind of thinking of it like an athletic event. Data is the scoreboard. It's the score at the end of the game. So Washington football team, the Commanders, dedicated their entire season to doing well. And the end of the game, they lost. But it is not, and I know I'm using it intentionally, it does not mean that they were not prepared for the game, that they were not committed to do the work, that they did not work hard. They put all their energy into it. It's the same thing with our faculty, our administration, and our staff, and our students. They all come to school every day to do their best and give their best. But the data, the scoreboard is showing us, we need to look at it, better understand it, go back to the tape, so to speak, go back to the film and understand what we're doing. It does not mean we've lost or not had a good season. It means that there was an issue and we need to look at it to make it better, to improve. Did it fall flat? Are we
No,
good?
I like it.
It's good that we're approving an athletic director tonight. Like, I feel like-
Yeah, nice to meet you.
There you go. So now it's my next steps, right? So now I need to kind of go back to the drawing board, look at the film. I need to start looking at other data points, achievement growth, attendance, teacher efficacy, curriculum review, and that's all just more data, right? So now that's kind of looking at kind of those analytics of sports, but I also want to develop leadership teams. So I want to develop leadership teams to start having conversations with students and families to understand what this means. So when they say that there's inequity, or when they say they're concerned about academic programs, help me quantify that and help me understand what best meets your needs. And then from there, we kind of get more information and we can really determine what our roadmap is forward to make sure that we are offering the greatest programming to our students. And we have to offer stronger communication. And stronger communication means listening and sharing information. So communication is not just listening to people and taking it all in, it's listening, sharing that information, and then making change based on what you're hearing. So that's kind of what our next steps as a board are, and what my next steps are as your superintendent, of just continuing to gather information. February, I'm going to have not a long presentation because Mr. Bard is going to have a presentation about your budget, but I will do a basic data point presentation. Now, again, the numbers are not going to be something you would write home about or that you would have a parade, but it cannot be equated to the dedication of our staff. It cannot be dedicated, it cannot be connected to how hard our students work, how dedicated and committed our faculty and staff are. Those are not commensurate with each other. So please do not confuse our scores as we roll them out with how well our teachers are teaching or how well our students are learning, because it's an unfair comparison. Any questions, thoughts, or concerns about all of that information? It was a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for that Super Bowl of information.
You gotta rub that in.
Or for Sunday.
Thank you. Okay, we are up to public participation. Is there any, we didn't have anyone listed before. Is anyone from the public want to speak? Okay.
Thank you.
All right, then, seeing none, we are going to move on to our discussion. Just to put a little bit of a point about it, we had a request from a district person whose children attend or will be attending, I guess it is Notre Dame, and we're interested in sports in East Stroudsburg, and I would name say sports that Notre Dame does not have. So I believe that would be, and I may be missing one, football, track, and rifle. And the request was, can they come and participate here? And in or north, depending where they live. And as we researched, we realized we really don't have a clear policy on that. We do have a policy that talks about cyber students and our charter students and homeschool students, but nothing that would affect, and when I say Notre Dame, I would mean Catholic private schools. We don't have that. So we wanted to just throw it out tonight for preliminary discussion. We're not going to take any action on it tonight, but just some thoughts that people might have on allowing it. Of course, they would have to be in the district. They would have to attend, be on the sport of the school where they live. I'll leave that open now.
I would think it's similar to, since we must provide the opportunity for homeschoolers, charter schoolers, and remote schoolers, the opportunity. It's much the same as a private charter school, in my eye, in my opinion.
I agree. I mean, I don't, they're living within the school district, and if they were coming here, we would be paying to educate them. We're not paying to educate them as we are sometimes with our charter schools. We're paying that money plus that. So to me, you know, and it gives a more robust, even for our community, with students who have been together through, you know, what ESEA and, you know, all the different push-kill, softball and, you know, all that. So,
And the taxes are the same.
yeah.
No.
But on the negative side, it may take positions away from students in our schools. Even though I agree with what you're saying, somebody that could make the team, if they people from Notre Dame weren't allowed to play, would be on the team. That's the only negative side I see on it.
My question is for Chris, and I don't necessarily expect an answer right this second. We base our policies on state school code and PSBA recommendations of how our policies should be written. We do have that policy on the books regarding athletes within charter schools and so forth. And so I'm assuming that we followed some parameters that were put out. Do you know what the state law specifically states, whether or not it's a requirement for a district to provide for?
I don't know 100%, but I
Okay.
do know 100% the law specifically requires it for
Charter
schools
schools
and
and-
for homeschool students.
Correct.
And so my hunch would be, given that I know that and I don't know for private schools, my hunch is that it's not required.
Okay.
It allows for, not that I'm an attorney,
Okay.
but it allows for that opportunity. As I tried to do kind of my own research, PIAA has some, and I don't want to put our new athletic director on the spot, but PIAA has some language in there saying that some of your small school districts combine
Mhm.
to field teams. And there's language that says if you do combine two schools to field a team, that you are not eligible for state championship or to move on to that level. But we're not combining to field the team. It's different to me, so I would love.
Oh, go ahead.
So like some of your really small school districts
Mhm.
that have 200 kids in the high school,
Mhm.
right? And they can't field a football team. So maybe two school districts join up and create one team. It's actually more common out in central western Pennsylvania. PIAA has language about that, but it doesn't specify non-pub.
Correct.
So I would want to go to them and I would ask our athletic director to sit down with PIAA and ask kind of where they are with that, just to make sure it is not exclusionary
Mhm.
of that secondary play, but I don't know if it is.
And that leads to, I guess, with Notre Dame, they play in a different league.
Mhm.
So are we just specifically talking about athletics that are not available within
Yeah.
the private school, or does that then open the door for students who don't want to play in the league that
I think
Notre
we would have
Dame
to write
plays
the
in?
policy
But we
accordingly.
usually,
And my understanding is, from what I've read of our other policies and what has been asked, the parent who obviously made this
Mm-hmm.
inquiry, is specifically for sports that are not offered at Notre Dame.
right,
Then
So-
that, I mean, to me, that's what we would obviously put in our policy.
right. And I appreciate the, the due diligence you did prior to that. And I think that information presented to, and any other information you gather presented to the policy committee to make a determination moving forward, I think would be the.
I had two
Because I don't
questions
think it's,
also.
I don't think it's, and I think I speak for everybody on the board. It's not a perspective of we don't want. We just want to make sure that we're doing the right thing.
Mhm.
So the two questions I had was transportation. Is it our responsibility or the parents' responsibility to get them from Notre Dame to our school in time for practices, games, especially when we leave at 1 o'clock for certain games that may be far away in the Lehigh Valley? So who's going to be getting that child from Notre Dame, whether it be to North or to South or to Lehman or JTL, wherever they're playing? Because Notre Dame to North is a long drive. And if they have to get out at 1 o'clock, is Notre Dame going to say, yes, that's fine, you can miss all this extra work that you would be doing at school to participate in a sport up at North or at South that leaves at 1 o'clock? So that's a concern I would have as a parent if it was my child, missing school like that. And then the other one was, in order to participate in PIAA sports, grades are checked every Monday. Will Notre Dame be open to sharing grades with their students in order on a certain date by a certain time to make sure that they're academically eligible to play?
They would have to be.
Right, and what would happen, my question would be, is what would happen if the school did not provide them on the day of a particular game? Do we then say to the kid, no, I'm sorry, you can't play, I didn't get your grades?
So.
Yeah, so say-
Yeah,
little
so
situations,
that would
yeah.
honestly be the outcome. And again, all of this would be written in policy. So to me, as a board, you would determine, do we want to transport? Or do we want to put it in the parents' plate of saying, we are offering you this opportunity, so you have to have kind of a dog in the race as well, so to speak?
Mhm.
Or that would all come in the policy. Eligibility would have to be listed in the policy.
Like, for example, my daughter does a soccer. So I know when she plays sports, I have to make sure she gets to the school in time for practice, in time for, games. If it's a 1 o'clock leave, I have to make sure that she gets to school by 1 o'clock. So we don't provide transportation for ours. So that's just a concern. If it's a working parent, can they then get their kid to and from school for those things as well?
Would this have an effect on our insurance? Like, how does that affect?
That's a good question, too.
Student.
A great question.
It's a good question. My instinct is that they are our resident students.
Right.
So I think we'd be fine, but definitely so we need to check. I also think to address Rebecca's questions, if this moves forward, we probably need an MOU between the district and Notre Dame
Yes, we will.
to make sure all those boxes are checked.
And also stress it's not only, although Notre Dame would probably be our biggest, if there were another, and I can't think of. anything
Monsignor
off the top.
McHugh?
If there were any, Monsignor McHugh, if someone was up, I mean, I don't think they would come from Scranton, but we have
I would say any non-public entity.
any non-play, yes,
Yep.
non-public, yeah.
Not just.
I mean, I'm sure
But-
Notre Dame probably be our biggest, and that's where this was coming from.
I just want to throw one thing on the table here. What concerns me is we've had this issue with other activities in our school district before. It wasn't just years ago, in the past years, it wasn't just sports, it was clubs, it was choir, different things. And are we opening up a can of worms by doing that?
What does the law say?
Well,
for
okay,
everyone
I
else?
understand that, but I think, correct me if I'm wrong, the law states about a public school entity, correct? It's about public school, like, because cyber charter, even though we reimburse them quite a bit, we don't reimburse Notre Dame for their programs. They're not, and I feel for this situation because the parents of those students are taxpayers either way. They're contributing more than the average taxpayer's parent. But my concern is if how budget wise, if we have it, and the numbers are probably minor. I mean, if we really look at this, maybe a handful of students would take them up. I mean, I think their whole graduating class is under 100 up there. So even if everyone,
15.
you know, I just want to make sure it's fair for all students in our school. I think George brought it up. If they're going to be taking places away from a current student in our program, maybe a starting position for senior year or something like that. And I think we have to look at it and entertain the idea. But my question is, one of the benefits we've always been selling people on our ESACA program is, hey, if you go to ESACA, you can do all our programs, you know, and I don't know. It's just something that it has to be discussed more. I mean, I just wonder how it's going to be paid for first. That's the biggest thing. How are we going to pay for it? Because if we have to raise more money, if we have to, you know, and we always say everything we say, how are we going to pay for it?
Well, I mean.
Well, I have a question.
Being paid for. So athletics is already paid for. We're not saying increase our rosters. Right, so like our rosters and our student count would stay the same. Correct me if I'm wrong, like to me, you have 54 players on a football team, you're still gonna have 54 players on a football team. Just 3 of them might be Notre Dame.
Okay.
1 might be Prep.
I mean, I don't see a lot of extra cost, and also, you know, if we're talking, since Notre Dame has pretty comprehensive club and activity program already, so we're talking very few sports. I mean, from Notre Dame, I don't know about any other private school.
But basically, if we do it for Notre Dame, we have to do it for any.
Any private school of
Private
our,
school.
but I'm
So
saying,
usually-
if you look at our survey, and I remember from when I was here, we don't have that many students in private schools
But we're-
that,
we're
other
ta-
than Notre Dame in our area, that's pretty much.
And just for the
There
record,
aren't
we're
that
talking
many.
Notre Dame students that are East Stroudsburg
Only,
students,
oh,
not Notre Dame students that are any other student.
right, and if they live up north, they would be in north, if they south,
Right.
yeah, they would go to their.
So they don't get to pick and choose what team they play on.
The
if they-
only thing I think we have to make sure that, you know, we can, I would leave it to the policy committee to discuss, but I think we have to come up with something, because right now we have an inquiry, and the parents not being pushy or anything, but we have an inquiry, and we have to have a response, and we don't have a policy,
This is
so
the first
it
time
seems
somebody
like something we have
placed
to
an
have a
inquiry.
policy on sooner than later.
No, according to our South Athletic Director, this was endeavored years ago and had some significant complications of exactly what you're saying about eligibility,
Mhm.
people getting us grades, things of that nature. But I also am like the eternal optimist that if we set up the system right,
Mhm.
and with technology now, perhaps we just have access to their grade books, who knows?
Right.
But
Mhm.
we can overcome those barriers if the board has an appetite for it, if we believe this is something we want to do.
And then the transportation issue, obviously, they need to figure that out themselves.
And that would be what,
Which school they play for,
Mhm.
because you could live up north, but if you go to Notre Dame. you're
They
not
have to
gonna
play
like-
up
no,
north.
They
They
have to
have to
play
play up north.
But then if you're going to school and you have to get to the up
Well,
north.
that's. part of
That's
the
your
issue.
choice.
Part of the
that's
issue.
part of
That's
the-
your choice, though.
I mean, obviously, there would be an issue if you have to go to a North game and you're Notre Dame, you're gonna have to give up that time of your education
Mhm.
to do it.
Or
I
did we
mean,
say you
that's-
go to?
No.
No, I.
No, that's not
allow
fair. Then why wouldn't, then a north parent can say, I want to play it south, or a south parent can say,
Yeah,
I want to
think
play it
that's
north.
stay in there.
And if we open that can of worms, you're opening it for
Yeah.
everybody
Right.
to say that, and we can't do that.
So if I understand, so right now, we don't have a response because we don't have a policy, so we have to develop policy that says either one or the other, that our policy says we do not allow, or we do allow with, you know, whatever the, is that?
Mike, I think the really first important thing to find out.
Is can we do it?
Can we
Can
do
we do
it? That doesn't
PIAA.
penalize
Yes,
the team.
yeah, like we-
That's what I was gonna ask that suggestion. Could administration, could we task administration with the mission to research? Is it possible with PIAA, I mean,
Right, so we don't have
PIAA
any
standards?
penalties put on
With
it.
penalties, are we going to jeopardize our teams and their futures or whatever? And if they see it fit that we can somehow entertain this, we can bring it before policy and work together with you to figure out what we need to do to put this together.
So we will have the athletic directors start to look into it, talk to PIAA. We looked for a PSBA policy. We didn't see one.
I don't think there, I looked, I don't really see anything. It's like,
But we will dig deeper. So we will come back next board meeting with more information.
Okay.
We were just looking for direction if the board wanted to even entertain this idea or not. Before we kind of invested a lot of time, but I will meet with the athletic directors and are we just thinking, are we just thinking high school?
See,
I have to ask the
see if
question.
there's any legislative guidance.
Or just
It should be
thinking
It
sports.
should just be.
Is it just gonna be sports?
I think
or
it's just sports for
just
now.
like
I
sports.
mean,
But that's where I.
See, yeah, it becomes a slippery slope from there. And I guess the other concern I have is it going to, is there space on that team for that individual without not having a student in our building, not have that opportunity? For example, I was a terrible football player. I mean, I was a terrible football player, but I was on the football team, right? I am certain that if we had other kids from other private schools, I would not be on that football team. I'll be perfectly honest. I mean, it's just, but having an opportunity is really important. So who gets that, that
And-
chance?
And does that student have to participate in tryouts just like everybody else and all that stuff too?
Of
You know what I'm
course.
saying?
I think it would have to
think
be.
everything.
And the mandatory workouts in the summer or whatever, whatever they do.
You're in for a penny, you're in for a pound.
A lot of questions.
And then the other question too, though, is if we do it for sports, are there extracurriculars like theater or robotics or all those other things that they may now say, well, I can play this sport. My school doesn't have this program. I found out from a student that you have this and my school doesn't have that. I want to do that too.
Mhm.
It's just opening up a lot that we have to think about as well. It's not just
That's what
sports.
worries me.
We offer a lot of clubs and activities for our students besides sports here that a lot of districts, other school districts don't offer their students.
So we will come back with more information next month.
Mhm.
Next month will be the presentation meeting
Okay.
apparently.
I have one other, just to throw something out there. How does, out of curiosity, how does this affect MCTI? Because Notre Dame students can't go to MCTI, can they?
Yes, they can.
They
They
can?
They do.
They do?
actually. There are,
Yeah.
Mhm.
We have, okay, I've never, okay,
not a lot, but I think they have
They
two.
have.
okay, okay.
It's probably because they don't wear a sign that says, I'm not.
I'm from Notre Dame.
Yes, we have from Notre. Okay, and like
Well,
I
I'll look
said,
at, I'll look
I-
for them at the next competition, Deb, I
There's
promise.
lots to think
I bet-
about.
I'll
I
ask.
think we have to have something in place so that we have a response, at some point.
And I think if we were doing this for next year, we could talk about it in February.
Mhm.
In March, we could go through the policy, and we
Mhm.
could have a policy in place, one way or the other,
Yep.
before fall sports started.
That would be
So I
excellent.
think
That's
this
a
is the
great
right time
timeline.
to start. to do it.
Mhm. Good.
And middle school will be very difficult for transportation. for
Yeah.
parents Because they're middle school.
Okay, thank you for this. Any other, I think we have a clear direction to investigate further. Okay, thank you. Great, I don't think we have any unfinished business, so we'll move on.
I have a unfinished business
Oh, I'm
question.
sorry, go ahead. I'm unfinished with.
It's not, it is kind of unfinished business. We've talked about this before. I'm gonna bring it up again. I think the way we do our meetings and this clumping all the things together, I am just so confused and frustrated with that. I think I'm asking the board to reconsider going back to I know it takes a little longer, but I'm okay. It doesn't take that longer if we go through quickly and expeditiously and really work on it. But the problem is, in some of these cases, some like tonight, there are some things I want to talk about, but I don't, first of all, I'm looking on a computer. I'm not looking at a book.
We're gonna have a book.
So I can't look through the book and page mark my notes.
And next month, Mr.
Okay,
Barca, you
I
will
know.
have a book.
But it just seems to me
Thank
from
you
a
to
from
Mrs.
a
Lozano.
perspective to the public that we're just breezing through these things. I know we're not. We're all reading our agendas and we're all looking and we're researching and
And
it's
we're-
just,
we're
and then when we have to go and give me an example, when we have to go and say, oh, I want to look at this and take out A and C but not D and it takes more time to figure out what you want to take out than just going through the 4 or 5 things individually.
And I second Keith's complaint there. I agree with him wholeheartedly. I'd rather go through.
Remember,
each-
I mean, I've talked to
each
members, I don't know
one
if you,
separate.
members of the public have said, the members of the public are confused because our agenda is even hard to read now. If you read our agenda online, it doesn't look anything like our old agenda. It almost looks it's confusing our agenda, the way it's presented on here, and it's not like the way we used to present it. I've had comments from elderly people, some older people in the community and some younger people in the community that said, look, we can't even understand the agenda online. Because we don't, to look through it. And I kept saying, well, I can't understand some of when I'm going in the meeting. I'm just saying, can we consider give it a shot one more time and
Well,
see
I
how
mean, it's easy enough. We could just kind of
Yeah.
take a quick poll of how we want to do it, because there's no, so I guess I'm not gonna put it out for, we're not gonna make a motion, but I'll just say informally here, if we could just say, who would prefer to, we'll say I'll say old and new for lack of better words, the old way or the new way,
Which is the old way.
the way we used to read
Yeah,
it,
everyone
everything.
old.
I prefer the old way because I find I miss things.
I'm okay either way.
Either.
I'm okay either, but. No vote.
I was gonna say, if we start with the agenda, maybe that would be step one. I mean, I understand when we started consolidating, and I understand that we can take things out and we can identify things, but maybe the agenda being more simplified.
But I think that's a problem with the board docs. We're doing the agenda with the board docs, correct?
Yes,
Patricia?
absolutely.
So that would make Patricia have to do a separate agenda
Well,
No.
I don't,
if we did that way.
so the printed agenda, we don't like that.
PDF.
A lot of, I was getting a positive comment from the community.
It's very difficult.
I like the older agenda. I honestly did. Like, it was much easier for me to follow. I get
Right.
this, but. You know,
I kind of agree with the community on that one.
Yeah, I would say that'd be part one, maybe.
Sorry, Dr. V.
No, listen, I'm
Sorry,
here to
Patricia.
start with the pleasure of the
Sorry,
board.
Patricia.
If you want 3,000 sheets of paper every month, we'll do it.
The only thing is.
Oh, let's
that
go
they
down the
said there's
table.
no
I-
Moodle.
If we can start
What?
with the agenda.
The reason we changed to board doc is they said Moodle was going.
Well,
away.
I can tell you from my experience, I've only ever worked, except for this district, in board docs. So like, when you tell me the agenda is confusing, I don't understand what's like, I'm not understanding because this is the format I've known for the last 12 years of my career.
We'd like to reintroduce you.
I don't think we're talking about that. I think what he's talking about right now,
Well,
we have, we have all
Okay.
these. eight
I
things.
wasn't mentioning the agenda I'm okay with the agenda being the way it is now. Debbie talked about making the agenda. I'm just asking if we can vote
Well,
on
maybe
things
if we
individually.
did this,
Why-
why don't we start with going back to reading all the motions? And that might
that's
make
what
the
he's talking.
agenda more
That's
easy
what.
to read, if that makes any sense. Like if we read every motion,
That's exactly.
it
it.
may find, then we may find in time that, okay, I get it now, maybe because we're doing two things at the same time. We have a new format to look and we're lumping everything together. We're doing both. So let's take the lumping part out. And let's play with it a meeting or two with just reading all the motions and see if then maybe the format we can handle. Is that?
I think that's what Keith is talking about.
That's what I'm.
That's exactly what,
Yeah.
that's
Shall we
what
give
I'm,
that shall we give that a go?
yeah, that's what I'm talking
Can
about.
can I just ask? you
And
this,
I,
Keith?
I'm for it.
I don't,
And I
mean
think
to-
Wayne said he was.
I don't mean to sound ignorant. I do understand there's the bit of a confusion with the board doc side. Because everything's condensed right here. Got to open each one, you see it, and then you got to read it, and then you got to go to the next one, open it, see it and read it. I personally use the PDF one that's right there, which is just like the old school one we had with the hyperlinks right in it. So we can just click back and forth to it. And it lays out all of our motions. It makes it harder for us to condense all of them at that point because you can't see them all in one little snippet, but I personally like the agenda one that, like, you can download the PDF version
Mhm.
or use the board doc one, and the board doc one, like you said.
I have to figure out the PDF.
Yeah, the board,
PDF is the one that Patricia sent, it just click on.
That
it.
one.
yeah, well, it's right in
It's
board
right in
docs, well, you
On
have
a
a choice
computer?
between one of the two, but it is confusing because it's all condensed in a one shot and you're trying to figure out what you want to pull. And if you pull the other one.
Yeah, but I'm saying if we
Better.
go down, right here, we have each one separate.
station?
We can click on it, we can click on it
Yeah.
and.
Well,
can
do we
vote on
want to,
separate.
just in the interest of time here, do we want to just run through No, we'll read every
Sorry, for the
motion tonight,
Way you go.
see if that's helping us, and then we can revisit next month and see if we need to do another step.
And then everybody that needs the book will have their books.
Right, then those who need.
It'll be.
I mean, I understand, let's face it, we
Understand too, but we also need to like progress.
have to progress. But we're voting on a lot of money and a lot of important issues, so we have to also make sure we're all understanding what we're doing.
Correct.
All right, so I will read out all the motions tonight. I love to read, so that's fine. I love to hear my own voice. We'll start. Is that good? Then we're going to continue with new business. A motion to adopt the board policies listed below.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? And of course, I wrote my notes to read them the other way. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's all right, I got it. Okay, a motion to approve the attendance of Dr. Maggie Vitale at the PD 225 Summit in Hershey, PA from March 23rd to March 26th in the approximate amount of $1,500.
So moved.
Second.
Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Motion to reappoint me to serve a 3-year term from July 1st, 2025 through July 30th, 2028 on the Colonial IU 20 board.
Motion.
Second.
Questions on that? Just a comment. I am currently doing that. I was filling out Mary's term, which was their 3-year term. So that one ended, which is why the IU is requiring me to be reappointed for that one. So just so clarification. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion to authorize, we're now under new business programs. Motion to authorize the field trips that are listed.
So moved.
Second.
Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion to approve the MOU with Special Olympics Pennsylvania concerning the Unified Champion School programs at Middle, Resica, and Smithfield as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Questions? All in favor? Opposed? Motion to approve the agreement as presented at this meeting between East Stroudsburg and Stroud Township for the use of the Yetter Park for practices and meets by High School South and JT Lambert Intermediate Cross Country teams as set forth in the MOU for the 25-26 school year.
So moved.
Second.
Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, new business pupils. Motion to approve the recommendation to modify expulsion agreement upon requirement and agreement upon expulsion waiver of school board hearing and release of agreement for the case listed in substantially the same form as presented at this meeting. That's all I'm reading.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions?
Yes.
That's what we know, right?
Yes, this is what we spoke.
But it's a no, right? As we discussed, making sure I'm.
No, you are allowing me to say that we are not expelling this student.
That's what I thought. I wanted to make sure I knew how to say yes or no.
Yes, affirmative, said we are not expelling.
Gotcha. I wanted to make sure I
A
understood what the
no
motion
says
was.
we're going forward with expulsion.
Okay.
Okay, good. Any
I
questions?
was confused, so I'm sorry.
Yeah, no,
Good.
absolutely. it's
All right, so knowing that, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, great. Next is a motion to authorize the district's participation in the doctoral research study as presenting concerning LGBTQIA+ the middle school students' inclusion within the school community.
So moved.
Second.
Questions?
I'm just very concerned with this program. I'm gonna say it.
It's
It's not a program.
It's a doctoral program it's a doctoral student from a local college,
A local university.
the local university. So we don't know this person's thought process, agenda. We're just assuming that that person is doing things properly.
They would have to go through the IRB in order to get their dissertation. The IRB is an incredibly rigorous process about confidentiality and safeguards of participants in the study. It also clearly lays out with how they're selecting people, what that process looks, how it will be confidential, how long they have to keep it, how they're going to destroy it. You have to physically tell them where you're going to keep the resources so that it remains confidential. The IRB safeguards this. I'm not trying to sway you, I'm just letting you know, as someone who went through the process, IRB is no joke. And it makes sure that the participants are confidential and will always remain confidential.
And are they voluntary?
It is
Yes.
voluntary
And
it is-
parent permission.
And
And
parent
parent
permission. And it is in alignment with clubs that we have, the GSA clubs.
I mean, all the documentation is there in terms of agreement by the students, the parents. I mean, everything is
Mhm.
very much laid out.
Actually, it looks like a
voluntary, so-
great study. I would like to see the results of the study
I
myself.
think it would
personally.
help some of
Yeah.
our students perhaps, you know,
Yep.
if, and when those results are shared.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, all in favor?
I,
Opposed?
Aye.
That two noes? Okay,
I'm a mediocre.
two noes and a mediocre.
Two no's and a mediocre.
Okay, new business personnel. Motion to authorize superintendent to hire professional and or support employees between regularly scheduled board meetings as the superintendent deems necessary and desirable for the efficient operation of the district, subject to subsequent ratification by the board at the immediate following board meeting.
So moved.
Questions?
This would only be done in extreme cases to make sure that we can secure people and start them moving into our district in an efficient manner.
All in favor?
I,
Opposed?
Aye.
Yeah, one opposed. Motion to approve the settlement agreement for employee 3819 as presented.
So moved.
second,
Second.
Questions? All in favor?
I,
Opposed? Okay. Motion to approve the affiliation agreement between the East Stroudsburg Board and the Moravian University for use of the district as a student teaching site.
So moved.
Second.
Questions?
Aye.
That was a question.
I'm sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Public content. Motion that the superintendent and administration do all those things listed below.
So
so
moved.
moved.
Second.
Any questions? And that's just an annual
Yeah.
statement that we make in all seriousness. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion to approve the employment actions listed in accordance with the associated applicable policies, procedures, and contractual agreements, subject to proper completion and receipt of all necessary documents and clearances where applicable.
So moved.
Second.
Second, okay, I'll go back. Questions? And we do have one of our new employees here, Dr.
Well,
Sally.
let's vote and then we.
All right, we'll see if we have all in favor.
Aye.
Okay, we have a new employee here.
Congratulations. We are excited and honored that you have chosen our school district to be your next place as our athletic director. So welcome.
The applause. I missed the sign.
Okay, we're going to go back to 6:13. And this would be a motion to approve the statement of charges for employee 9254, having concluded that the charges are sufficient upon termination, support termination. Also to approve the statement of charges for employee 7950, have concluded that the charges are sufficient to support termination, and to support a statement of charges for employee 10499, having concluded that the charges are sufficient to support termination.
so moved.
Second.
Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, new business finances, 13. Motion to approve the agenda items A and B in accordance with the recommendation of the Finance Committee.
So
So
moved.
moved. Second.
Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion to approve the tax collector's resolution for the 25-26 through 30-31 school year in accordance with the recommendation of the Finance Committee.
So moved.
Second.
Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion to award items A through F in accordance with the recommendations from the Finance Committee, Education Programs Resource Committee, and the Properties and Facilities Committee.
So moved.
Second.
Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion to recommend that the board approve the quote from Wayfair for the Jam Hill gym floor refinish in the amount of $5,766 in accordance with the recommendation of Finance and Property and Facilities Committee.
So
Second.
Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion to approve the quote from WG Malden for flow meters for the North Wastewater Treatment Plant in the amount of $13,488.66.
So moved.
Second.
Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion to approve the payment of bills and unaudited treasurer's report listed in this agenda for the 24-25 fiscal year in accordance with section 687 of the Public School Code, recent directives from the Department of Ed, and interpretations made by the Auditor General.
So
Second.
Questions? All in favor? Opposed?
Aye. For Wayne. I did it for Wayne.
I was gonna say, everyone's gonna agree today, but no, you had to ruin it.
I have
well.
to keep his faith going.
Motion to approve the payment of the following invoices and applications for payment for the services rendered.
So moved.
Second.
Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion to approve the request to renew the already established student activity funds as listed.
So moved.
Second.
Questions?
Question, I brought this up before and I'm gonna bring it up again, because I'm still confused of why our cheerleading at JTL is a club, not a sport. I've talked to many people in the community that are confused about that also. I am confused on the whole process, and now maybe with a new athletic director, we might be able to entertain a look at this.
Yeah, the same's at Lehman as well.
Well, it's a feeder, it's a program.
Oh, I don't say,
in-
it's not just JTL, it's also Lehman
Right,
too.
well, the only reason I'm bringing it up is because it's under, the cheerleading is starting their account to raise funds because they don't even have uniforms up there.
No, Lehman doesn't either,
They
yeah.
can't use it, and there are old uniforms they could use, but they can't because they're not a
is
sport.
it a PIAA sport?
Well, then-
For cheerleading in, I don't know. I don't know.
Well, they say they supposedly it's been said it's not, but I don't understand
But is it
why.
PIAA saying that, or is
Apparently,
it
I don't know.
saying
That's
that?
what, that's what the parents
It
I've
is-
talked to have been told it's not a sport.
I'm being told it is a sport at the intermediate school level.
No, it's a club.
It can
a
be.
sport.
So it might not be in our district, but it's
Well,
not a PIAA.
I would like to further look at this to make our cheerleading program at both intermediate schools a sport. To give these ladies and gentlemen that want to participate in
uniform.
the high school level, a uniform
I don't think
and
so.
some notoriety and get them into the program.
So
let
what we,
them-
what we will do is we will bring to you an action item with what the cost is to make it a fully funded sport at the intermediate level.
Okay, thank you. That's all I ask.
Okay. Any other questions for that motion? Right, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion to approve the request to renew the already established special activity fund for the JT Lambert choirs.
So moved.
That was second.
Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion to close the student activity fund for high school South class of 2024.
No.
It always makes me sad when we have to close those out, because that means it's like another
Time to
year.
move on.
You
Any questions?
I made the motion.
I'll
Oh,
second
someone,
then.
I'm sorry, I didn't have any questions. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion to approve the 23-24 annual audit prepared by that group based in accordance with the recommendation.
I
I'm
can
I'm
never
sure
say-
the refined verb, I just can't pronounce.
I can never say it either.
Zelenzowski Axelrod LLC.
Oh, you got it right, Zelenzowski.
I did it. Any questions? Or any, did we motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor? Opposed?
Aye.
You don't like their audit?
Well, I didn't get a chance to read it. I just got it.
Okay,
Was that two ayes or just one?
let's move on.
Well, it's just,
said aye.
it's just here on the table. I gotta look at it.
I'm kidding.
No, please don't make this meeting any longer. I don't want to be held accountable for long.
You are going
Do you want to wait for him to finish?
Okay, then we'll move on. Motion to approve the appraisal proposal as presented to engage golf property analysts to perform the appraisal set forth therein and authorize the solicitor to execute the proposal on behalf of the district.
So moved.
Second.
Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Next, under new business property, motion to accept the grant from the Pocono Mountains United Way for East Stroudsburg Area School District Summer STEAM art program for the total amount of $4,000 via donation from UGI Utilities.
Second.
Steam,
I will
Steam.
abstain.
steamer, I get it.
I abstain as well.
I'm sorry.
2 abstentions.
2 abstentions?
Yes.
Okay, everyone else, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion to accept the grant for the Pocono Mountains United Way for East Stroudsburg Area School District Summer Steamer Programs for the total amount of $1,600 via donations from Ice Markets.
So moved.
Second.
Abstaining.
I abstain.
Okay, abstentions are listed. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion to approve items 1 and 2 in accordance with the recommendation of the Finance Committee.
So moved.
Second, and
That,
we have second?
second.
Second.
Okay, questions?
I abstain.
Abstain.
Abstained. Okay, we have abstentions. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion to approve, and this would be new business operations. Motion to approve the contracts listed for their specific services, rates, and effective dates, subject to the review and recommendations of the solicitor and approval of the administration regarding the terms and conditions of any final contract other than price or cost.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? New business community. Motion to approve items 1 and 2 in accordance with the recommendations of the Education Programs and Resources Committee.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Right, we have our enrollment listed, and we just at this point, if there's no
Motion to adjourn.
announcements. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
David?